This is a pretty exciting video for me because I am unboxing SurfPrep's new vacuum, the POV8, and I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, didn't you just buy a Festool vacuum? And the answer is yes. Earlier this year I did buy a Festool CT26E, but I opted to also try out this SurfPrep. One, because you guys said you would like a review or a comparison of the two, and two, because I have some other tools in the shop like my miter saw and table saw, and most recently a really awesome viewer gifted me this scroll saw. So I need a little bit more dust collection capabilities, and I'm hoping that one of these two vacuums will be good for sanding and one of them might be better suited toward the saws. I did pay for both vacuums, so you're going to get my honest reviews here. There are some things I like and don't like about both. Hopefully this video helps you make a decision if you're considering either one of these vacuums.
My name is Angie and I refinish furniture. Sometimes I paint and sometimes I don't, but I always do what I can to save old pieces from the trash. Welcome to my workroom.
So let me start first by saying that I worked for years with just a shop vac, and then eventually I had my sander attached to an Oneida dust deputy system, which is a cyclonic system, and that was attached to my shop vac, and that worked fine for a long time. You can see by the amount of dust on these that it wasn't taking all of the dust, it was getting some of it, and that was better than nothing at the time. But if you do this long enough or want to sort of progress in your business, there is a time to upgrade, and that was my Festool for me. So I'm going to quickly start by going over the Festool, and then we're going to go through the SurfPrep together, and at the end I'll sort of compare the two. Now, Festool makes a bunch of different dust collector vacuums. The one I opted to go with was the CT26E HEPA, which is the smallest of this line of three. Right out of the box, you can tell this is a well-made machine. It comes with this awesome 11-foot 6-inch hose, which is wrapped. So what I like about that is you don't get the ridges that you would get on a normal vacuum hose. It comes with one bag, and this particular model HEPA filter removes 99.97% of particulates down to 0.3 microns. It has a spot on the back that you can wrap your cord, you can stack systainers on top, and it has both manual and automatic switch. The SurfPrep POV-8 also appears to be a really well-made machine. Like the Festool, it has both a manual and automatic mode, and a plug for your sander or whatever tool you're using this with. This is also suitable for a wet-dry application depending on a few modifications you have to make, and comes with a giant 16-foot hose. The SurfPrep does come with some minor assembly. You've got your adapter for your hose, two end pieces for the hose, and then your wheels to put on. And the wheels are super easy, they just pop right in. You've got two swivel wheels on the front, and these two larger fixed wheels on the back, just like the Festool. The hose provided is an anti-static hose, which is nice. And SurfPrep actually provides you with 5 bags, which is fantastic because these bags aren't cheap. I found that out the first time I had to go buy Festool bags. What I like about their bags though is that there's actually a little cap, so when you're removing a full bag, you just slightly push it back, close the cap, and then you can take it out without dust flying out everywhere. So that's a really awesome little feature. Your filters here are just underneath the top, and these ones will filter particulate down to 0.1 microns. Like the Festool, you can actually add systainers to the top. There's a clip in the front that will hold them on. But unfortunately with this model there is no cord reel on the back. Not necessarily a deal breaker, but that is something that is really handy to have. The hose is actually quite easy to set up. You've got this little swivel here that will accept a hose of one size on one end, and if you flip it around you've actually got a bigger opening, so it will accommodate different hoses. And these rubber attachments, you'll be tempted to put on righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, but these are reverse threaded, so you want to go backwards, so counterclockwise when you're attaching them on, and it gives a really tight fit. And then all you have to do is insert it into that swivel adapter that goes right into the vacuum. Now I'm told these hoses can screw right into the SurfPrep sanders, but I'm going to use this rubber one instead. This insert that I have here came with my sander, but there was also one sent with the vacuum, so you will get one. As far as I know, these will only fit the SurfPrep sanders, and while I've heard some people complain about that, literally every company that makes sanders and dust collectors, it's the same thing. They make their tools to work with each other. Sometimes you can find adapters to fit the different sanders and hoses, or you can do what I did way back in the beginning and just tape it together. Whatever works. One accessory I would totally recommend you pick up if you get one of these vacuums, or any vacuum really, are these SurfPrep cord clips that go on the hose. It's so nice to have the cord and the hose integrated, so you don't have your wires and hoses going in different directions while you're trying to work. So let's have a look at these two side by side. Obviously the SurfPrep has a much smaller footprint than the Festool, and yet the capacity of it is actually slightly larger than the Festool. Both have swivel casters in the front and fixed wheels on the back, and I honestly wish both of them had swivel casters on all four wheels. I find it just makes maneuvering so much easier. As I mentioned earlier, one feature the Festool has that the SurfPrep doesn't is a cord reel at the back. I feel like that is a really important thing to have in a workshop. They both have nice solid handles and storage area on the top, as well as the capacity to have sustainers attached to them, which are additional containers for more storage. One thing the Festool has on the top that the SurfPrep doesn't is this little carved out area, and that is actually where you can put the hose in and wrap it around here. And I do that often to take up some of the slack because I find the hoses are way longer than they need to be, at least for my setup. It may be different in your workroom. Both have manual and automatic settings, and you can control the airflow or output of the vacuum, and both have power outlets for your sanders or whatever tools you're using it with. The Festool also has this handy little kickstop here. Looking at the hoses here, I have two green Festool hoses. The smaller diameter one is actually the one that came with the vacuum, and the larger diameter one is the one I purchased later, mainly because the opening would fit over my DeWalt output. Both of the wrapped Festool hoses and the SurfPrep hose are anti-static, though the SurfPrep one is not wrapped. So I'm going to plug these in and show you how I normally wrap up the excess hose. Now this is because of the way my workroom is set up. Yours might be different and you might need all that extra length. But basically with the Festool, all I do is loop it around the interior, and then I use this Velcro strap to attach it to the handle, and the hose stays out of my way, which is perfect. I suppose you could do something similar with the SurfPrep hose. It just wouldn't tuck in quite as nicely, but you could still wrap it up here. Manual mode literally just turns the vacuums on, so I'm going to set these both to A for automatic. When you turn on your sander, it will trigger the vacuum to come on a second or two later. Both of these particular models are self-cleaning, which means they will self-clean their filters. With the SurfPrep, you can actually hear it. It's almost like a little hiccup in the motor. There's nothing wrong with it. That's what happens when it reverses the airflow for just a second to help knock the dust off the filter. This is not, in fact, a strawberry jam. This is sanding dust that I've collected. Sometimes I use it to mix with glue to make a wood filler. In this case, I'm going to do a little suction test. This is clearly not scientific by any means. I just wanted to do a little side-by-side comparison to see if there was any visible difference in the suction of these two machines. And it was pretty much neck and neck for both the lowest setting and the highest airflow settings. I also wanted to compare the loudness of these machines, and obviously you can hear that there is a slight difference, but I downloaded a quick decibel meter on my phone. This is not going to be 100% accurate, but it'll give you a rough idea of the difference here. The Festool CT26E HEPA might not be the closest in relation to the SurfPrep POV, but it's the one that I had, so that's the one I'm comparing it to. Both are self-cleaning, both are well made, both have anti-static hoses with plenty of length, storage on top, cystainer capabilities, both have manual and automatic mode, and you can plug a tool in. Both are able to be used wet or dry as long as you remove the bags and in some cases change the filters. The Festool outshines the SurfPrep a little bit in terms of the hose that comes with it. I like the hose a lot better. I also like the fact that there is a cord reel on the back and that I can tuck away some of the excess hose in the top instead of having the full length available while I'm working. The SurfPrep outshines the Festool a little bit in terms of its compact size without sacrificing container volume. It is a little bit quieter, and you get 5 bags with it instead of just the one that you get with the Festool. In terms of pricing, I'm in Canada, so this is going to be Canadian dollars, but the Festool retails here for $1,024 plus our 15% sales tax, which brought my total to $1,177.60 Canadian. The SurfPrep POV-8 retails in the States for $699. Using today's exchange rate, that would be $893.58, plus it was $40 US to ship, so that's another $51.13. And then there's duties and taxes, which I also had to pay. So those 3 things together total $1,095.30 using today's exchange rate. In all honesty, I was super impressed with the SurfPrep vacuum. You look at a company like Festool that has been making dust collectors and vacuums for years, you kind of expect that quality, but with SurfPrep, this is a new product and I think they did an amazing job. I can't outright say I have a favorite yet. I'm going to work with SurfPrep for a couple of weeks and see if anything changes or if I end up liking it more. I don't know, they're actually quite comparable. If you're just getting into this and find these prices high, because I did as well, I can tell you roughly what the setup was before that I had with just a plain shop vac, and then I added the United Dust Deputy, which gave me a little extra dust collection, and like I said, it was not at the level of these 2 vacuums for sure, but it was better than nothing at the time. So the United Dust Deputy Deluxe is a kit that I had purchased, and right now in Canada that retails for $139.90. You can pick up just a general shop vac, just make sure that you try to get the most horsepower you can, and the higher the CFM or cubic feet per minute, the more suction you're going to get. You should be able to put together a system like this for around $300 to $400. I hope this answers some questions you might have about either of these 2 vacuums or even just a basic setup like I just showed you. The more you get into this, the more dust collection really matters. You need to protect your lungs and, in some cases, your home or your workshop. Until next time, thank you so much for watching and I will see you soon.